Ho, ho, hippity, ho. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Fuck's sakes. Ah, there we go. Well, this is part of it. I like you. I'm gonna figure out that Streamlabs thing. Uh, so I was checking out those other two that I was testing, and half the shit I said on the live stream didn't come out. But this is kind of cool, right? So I know it. It takes away from a guy's thought pattern. And the other thing I liked about the Streamlabs stuff is then I could bring up things that I wish to talk about. But hey, one step at a time, I guess. And I like to write stuff on whatever it is, Microsoft Word, or depending on which computer I'm using, and that other one there that I got, and then just write shit up. Um, but on this one, now how could I open up an extra window on this one? I don't think I can I? So what the hell is that? Oh, shit. You mean there's two people actually watching this? Interesting. I was just this morning there when I was listening to Rebel first thing in the morning. You got that $3,000 judgment, administrative, and that's what I've told these guys about administrative courts, right? Administrative tribunals is what they are. So what it was at the time I did do a show on it. I think it's still up on I know it's still up on my stuff, on my vids. So, and that, like Ezra should learn how to keep his mouth shut. You're talking to a couple of investigators. Now, if he hadn't shown up, I believe within the jurisdiction they were operating in. Now, remember, I'm a legal idiot. I'm not competent to partake in legal society. I'm not a legal code, decipher, right? But at the same time, I believe that within the jurisdiction that those two ex-cops were operating in as investigators, only applied to the Elections Canada Act, right? I tried finding that Elections Canada civil thing that they had hanging on the civilities hanging on the wall behind them in the room, the interrogation room, the quiet room. They got a name for it. It's I forget what they call those, but I couldn't find it. So maybe it's really private. But the thing is, when you got people that are out to get you, wanting to converse with you, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Name, rank, and serial number is all you have to give. Only if you're under investigation. Otherwise, you don't even have to talk to them. And if you wish to talk to me, man, all I got is questions for you. Who are you? What do you wish? How does that apply to me? Well, Elections Canada sent us, and where's Mr. and Mrs. Elections Canada? Did they say I do wrong? Answer everything with a question. You have a right. You have a right to know why these folks believe that they have the dictatorship over you, right? So what they were trying to do was, when they were quizzing Ezra, they were trying to get him into the third person. And so, you can be a second and a third person all at the same time. You're always the first person. These folks try to hide behind their crown immunity, right? Whoever does have it. And but there's always a man or a woman behind it. And so if you don't wish to be seen as the presumed person, If you don't wish to be seen, don't wish them to be seen as your co-parent, then you need to let them know by asking questions. What does that have to do with I? How does that apply to man? How does that apply to women? Right. So I'm not sure if this is working out or not. I think I got a thumbs up. I don't know. It's weird. If this is working out and somebody's actually watching this, say something to me on that chat thingy. There was a guy on the first one. I think his name was Sean. Left a message. But yeah, that's why I like using that Streamlabs, because then I can bring up the interrogation. Interrogation room was what I was thinking about, but I could bring up the interrogation, with Ezra and reiterate where Ezra ratted himself out, which gave them, the minute he did that, I knew they had him, they had jurisdiction over him, because he's a proud man that thinks he knows everything, and he doesn't like being pushed around, and who does? But there are times just to be harmless as a dove, right? Be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. I got my one buddy there. He's always talking about, what is it? Gandhi was passive resistant, and he's always talking about being passive compliant. And this is the whole thing, because excuse me, because slavery is outlawed in all its forms on this land. They have to trick you with the persons, okay? And this is why I come against these guys. They're always going on about the fraud, the birth certificate fraud stuff, and it's like, man, it's just a benefit. It has nothing to do with you except for the benefit. Right, the benefit that you're offered, and that benefit that the corporate body trust, the corporate body politic, the corporate body does benefit you with, they can also take it away, because it's a benefit. You have no right to it, and that's and if you can understand that, then you can understand or see, when you wish to act as a driver, when you're seen as that person. Right, that person is an infant, and that person needs to be regulated, and that person needs to be judged and on their actions, because they are an infant. All right, and that person is also a defendant. Right, that person is a debtor. Right, and this is why if you go to sometimes you win a traffic court. I mean, if you go in as an infant and you got a decent lawyer and pay them enough money, they will act as the person, the agent, and somebody will golf, and somebody will buy lunch, and somebody won't, and somebody will do a trade deal. The person is traded like commodities. Even though stuff like the what is it, the Covenant of Civil and Political Rights says everybody is secure in their person, right? But you're not really secure in your person, are you? Otherwise, Trump wouldn't be losing bank accounts. Trump wouldn't be losing, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, his person is under attack. Obviously, people want to take him out, deperson him, get deperson. A number of years ago, guys were depersoning themselves, giving all their shit up and saying, hey, I don't, yeah, okay, well, fine. Now you don't have a person here, right? So what are you supposed to do? And this is what I say, don't be scared of, there's shills in every group, in every movement. Look at all the shills in the Conservative Party now that are just, look at the supposed guy that was voted in as leader. I mean, he's just ripping the shit out of the Conservative Party over what? The guy doesn't do anything. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't stand. He doesn't rebut. I mean, the only guy, I haven't really seen Sloan do anything, say anything either. I see Pierre Poilievre. Pierre. That's all I see is Pierre. We got a one-man a one-man show, a one-man army, right? Poor guy. He looks like he's right into what he does, though, and good on him. And people need to be held accountable because you have public servants dealing with public monies, with the public wealth, that need to be held accountable to the public. Who's in the public? First person, second person, and third person. A public highway is open to the public, right? Are you saying that mankind is outlawed from the public? That there's a law that outlaws man from passing through the public? From using public buildings and public roads? When under the criminal code, it obviously says that the public has a right to use King George's highways. Nobody knows who the fuck they are. Now, I realize I'm just rambling. I was watching the thing. I was going to do a show on Ezra. I was just, I guess I got freaking excited. But just remember, YOU means you owe us. All right? So you, as in plural, cannot just be, they got Ezra as the second person and the third person because of his big fucking mouth. So, he's going to spend $100,000 to fight that fine. And, well, okay, do it. But, if your lawyers, your co-parents are agents, or handlers are savvy, they're going to show you exactly where you fucked up. And then they're going to tell you how they're going to go about fixing the issue. I know as a man, if I fucked up, I would just said, hey man, I misspoke. At no time was I acting as when I did write my book, I was only acting as the author, as the first person, right? I wouldn't write first person, but I was only acting as an author, right? So, and an author he is, because he authored the book, and he has the right to author the book, and he has the right to freely express himself within his book. Everybody has a right to freely express themselves, as long as you're not causing harm, loss, or injury, right? And you better be able to, if you say I'm causing you harm, and I cause you loss, and I cause injury to your property, then you better come forth and prove it. And I'm presumed innocent until proven guilty. In the old days, say if you said I owed you a debt, I used to have to pay you the debt, and then I could go after you for defrauding me, for a false claim. But these days, you can fight it up front. Where do I get this shit from? Reading stupid crap, reading history. That first tryout on trying to do live stream, I don't even know if this is working because I don't see a chat. Is the chat enabled? Fuck, I don't know. It says learn more. Do I dare press another button? Let's see. Get started live stream. Create a live stream. Create a live stream. Promote your live stream. Live stream tips. Okay, well, that's just to whack more hours of investigating for the boomer. Oh, I was doing a little too much. I'm on exercise mode, but I can feel things wanting to separate. Damn it. I was feeling like a man kind of yesterday. All right. Well, there's no live traps. Traps. Yeah, right. They're all over the place. They're called road agents, and they're waiting for you as you drive by. At least that's what they used to be called in the old days, eh? In the older days, they were called privateers. A license to go jack you up on the side of the highway or in the ocean or wherever, right? Road agents and privateers. And that's all that's going on right now. And it's too bad that, those folks in the uniforms don't know how to, call in sick, take a day off. When you got these little fear mongering tyrants, sending them down to bully up a peaceful assembly, and that's what I call it. I call it a peaceful assembly, and if everybody assembles, then I guess you're one and not in a crowd, not a gathering, right? Because you're one. A family unit is one. They assemble as one, right? So, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this and see how it worked out. I don't know how I get a thumbs up. Hey, if you can give me a thumbs up, can you give me something on that stupid chat? Or am I just off base here? Okay. A buddy of mine's been trying to get me over to his place so we can do like a show so we can talk about shit. What I am doing though is I know here I am barely can figure out a live stream. Here I am barely can figure out Streamlabs, and I'm gonna get that Discord working too, so folks can just phone me and then chat in the Discord chat. So Raging had a Discord last spring, so I got into it. That's when I first noticed it. I don't know when he actually brought it out. So I got into it, and I couldn't figure it out at the time. Like it was just giving me a fucking headache, and it's whatever. I would have a beer, and one of my sons and I would sit down and listen to him. It was like sitting around the old TV back in the 70s and 60s, and watching the entertainment, which was pretty cool. And then, like I say, riding season started. So I just gave up on that crap. And I get busy during the summer because, that's when all the work's happening. Oh, hey, it is working. Joe Lodato. Lodato. Yeah, it works. You're a boomer, eh? Oh, you're a bike builder out of Detroit. Yeah, yeah, the good old days. Because you're a boomer bike builder, then you know what it's like to work on Brits and pans and knucks and generator shoves and stuff. Yeah, the good old days, eh? These newly trained guys, they're not so savvy. I found it a lot easier too to like I didn't want nothing to do with computers, man. I had no time for that shit. And then when Harley, and I had no time for Morelli stuff, that first few years of fuel injection crap, I looked at it, was stupid. Just it looked like junk to me. And then when they went to Delphi, that's when I bought my first laptop. So what I did was I got all my Super Tuner software and Blue. My computer I didn't buy a breakout box and computer from Harley. It was more money, but I bought I don't think it's Blue Point, but I got it from Jim's. And so, I could just plug and play and do diagnostics and that. But of course, unless you have the Harley software or Super Tuner software, you couldn't change anything. You couldn't actually change your settings and mappings and stuff. So me and the computer went round and round in my shop a couple of times. I killed one, made me feel better. But I found that a lot easier than all this stupid fucking software. Yeah, and common law applies to everyone within a common law nation on common law land. And it's down the U.S. side, USA side, and anywhere there's a common law nation. And with and here's the thing, everybody these days, they're all freaking out. Like, I got this one progressive buddy. He's got 3 bikes, right? But he's a freak, man, and he's gotten worse. We've had to corner him a couple of times and kind of just smarten him up. Shut the fuck up. We're tired of listening to your Nancy Pelosi shit, because we're almost turning into like some third world country that where politics is everybody and everybody's macheting each other on top of the heads because they don't think the same or vote the same, or it's stupid. I used to be proud of being a Canadian because we could agree to disagree, and a Canuck knew how to use these. And over the years, with all this feelings bullshit, now, you talk loud, and all of a sudden you're before the Human Rights Tribunal of whatever. And because I got a number of them here, and Harper did get rid of them, the federal one. But anyways, hey, all you American cousins down there, half my family is American, they're Nevadians. But all you American cousins down there, welcome to Canada, because that's exactly what they're going to do to you right now. Oh, you watch the change. You hurt my feelings. Yeah, you're going before the tribunal. And that's what they are. They're administrative tribunals, those human rights fucking things. And they're pretty easy to knock out. So the very first thing, and it was, I felt weird putting up, a title as, common law for dummies, because, I don't want to call anybody a dummy, right? And but at the same time, basically, a couple guys were on me and say, simplify this. So that's why I started looking at the person, because all I hear all the time is, don't touch the person. I'm not that person. The person is a fiction. And it's like, no. It's just like, a person is a man. A man is not a person. And a lot of people can't get that around their head. So, and you being plural, it's not dual, it's plural, right? So that's what happened to Ezra Levant. He was the agent. He's a you. He's a you, man. Like an African you, right? But yeah, it's good. And because slavery is outlawed in all its forms on this land, and it's nice. Hey, I have a right to know who does wish to intercourse with me. And so, like, you're a copper, and of course we're all carrying phones and little gadgets. I've tried, over the years, just being a rider and stuff, right, and getting jacked up on the side of the road. I've had like recording pens, going to court. I got the little USBs where the lights go off, and that's what I was taking into court with me. But this is just a 720p, right? It's not the HD version, but this thing actually works really, really good. So, and carry 2 fucking phones with me, and I got my helmet cam. I used my helmet cam to do a lot of films over the years, where I was filming up old scooters and stuff that I was working on, because a lot of people, don't know. Like, a lot of us guys are gone. And I noticed that this younger crowd, there's a shovelhead cult going on with the younger generation now, which is kind of cool. And so I did a bunch of films, just setting up push rods and the difference between the hydraulics and how evolution, or not an evolution, but a shovelhead or panhead, hydraulic, really panhead hydraulic is different than, say, an evolution or a Twinkie fucking hydraulic, and the different ways to set them up and so on. Some other stuff, just doing head work and shit like that. Just showing the kids, you can't take it with you. And I know when I was an up and comer, I was doing my time in a dealership as a snot-nosed kid, and 18, right? And I walked there every day for a month in January in the prairies, and all I had was a leather jacket and a good pair of, I didn't have any winter clothes. And, they laughed at me every fucking day. And I said, look, man, I want to work on hogs and that. So the 30th day, they actually hired me, and they said, okay, kid, if you can make this bike run, before the end of the day, we'll give you a job. So I go on the back, and it was a unit construction 650 Bonneville. Yeah, whatever, man. And back then, Harley used to pick up, when Triumph was up and down, going in and out of business, and the Brits were going out of business, back then, a lot of the Harley shops were picking up, British bikes and stuff to fix. So, yeah, so I just, I didn't rewire the bike. I just kind of wired it. I wired her up and made sure the Zener was working and stuff, and synced in the carburetors, synced in dual point, single fire ignition, and fucking by coffee time, 10:15 in the morning, man, it took me like 2-3 kicks. And so, Head mechanic didn't like me. We used to call him Jethro. He was a big fucker in bib overalls, right? I think it was my first day, second day, you know. He threatened to beat the shit out of me. The only problem is, man, I came off the streets, you know. I'm the son of a vet that didn't make it in the household. You know, so yeah, no, I was like, okay, buddy, let's get at it then. You know, you talking, you swinging. So then he jammed out. Oh, you probably call the cops. And I said, no fucking way, man. I just got off the streets of Winnipeg. I'm in Saskatoon. In fact, that's how I got in trouble all the time. You know, I thought when people threatened you, that was the okay to start swinging. I didn't know that you had to sit there and have a fucking little mouth party back and forth. You know, I still really don't know that. But I'm, you know, older, calmer. Ain't the man. That's somebody else's generation. But at the same time, watching the bullies in uniforms too, I think every boomer needs to get back into something. If you used to box or used to whatever you might have used to do, maybe, you know, could you imagine, you know, being 60 years old and 65 years old or whatever, and cops laying their hands on your old lady? Like me and my old lady have been together for 33 years. Fuck that. You know, fuck that. No, you know, and I'll stand in front of any man or woman, you know, in a black robe. And I don't need to justify my actions to protect my property. She is my property. I'm her property. Motherfuckers. I am getting pretty upset. Yeah, you want to shoot me? Go ahead. What the fuck do I know? You know, I'm almost at the end of days. And like I was saying, hey, don't know how many more summers we got. So, what do we got here? Horse Media. Oh, hey, nice job. Yeah, hey, thanks for the offer, Horse Media, to use your internet service. I didn't even know the guy lived in my neighborhood. Yeah, he's a Horse Media guy, all right. Yeah, he likes his horses. The first rule when dealing with agents of the government: establish yourself as a man. Okay. Then kill them with questions. Yes, I love that. I like to tell them I don't recognize them until they have established I'm a man. There's a question mark there. It's a given. It's a given. Unless you're an alien, they're a man, you're a man. So how I do it is, you know, a cop comes to my window or a cop wants to talk to me, and I just look at him and say, hey, man, are you a man? I'm a man. Are you a man? And they say, yeah, of course I'm a fucking man, idiot. Oh, okay. Well, just you know, just wanted to, you know, make sure I'm talking to my fellow man. You know, what's your wish? Right? I need to see this and I need to see that. And you should see the face on the coppers, the expressions I get when they say, well, let's see your license. And I say, license? I don't have a license. And I do it. Yeah, it's fun. And what? You don't have a license? Oh, you mean do you mean the government license that I do possess? Yeah. No, I think it's around here somewhere. And I'll give them that. No, I'm not giving them any presumption that I'm a driver. Fuck that. I'm not the third person. I'm not your peon. I'm not your citizen. I'm not your bitch. You know, but I am your fellow man. So there, I'll show you respect. Respect is due. But don't be laying hands on my family, and don't be coming in my fucking front door without expecting reaction. You know, and what is that? The Siemens case it goes back hundreds of years. You know, that you know, the threshold, your castle. A man's home is his castle, and this is why they need warrants. You know, these fucking agents need warrants. And not only do they need warrants, I think it was Dan Bongino there. He was going on this morning about you know, warrants and blah, you know how Dan goes if you watch him. But you know, and I reminded him. I said, yeah, well, that warrant is not only needs to be signed, but and dated, but it also should be preceded by a bond. Because what if they got the wrong house? What if they kick in the wrong door? What if they destroy, like my desk here? It's actually made in Canada. I don't think we made a desk in fucking 40 years, right? So it's a 70s, early 70s desk. And you know, what if they came in and destroyed this desk? What if this thing's worth like 20 grand? You know, it's not replaceable. So How am I going to be compensated for it? Right? So what, am I going to sue the fucking officer? Well, you're not going to sue an officer. Am I going to go and sue the government? Am I going to, well, actually, no, I'm probably going to sue everybody, but I'm going to go after the man. Right? And I'll go after his superior, and I'll go after whoever. But every man is liable for his actions. We all are. Right? I mean, they try to hold us liable for actions that we haven't even done yet. You know, they're all thought police now. Nah, don't bother with the old shit, man. Doesn't matter. You know, I think your average copper has 3 oaths, right? And policy enforcement officer, and police officer, and peace officer. Why do you care? Like, it really doesn't matter. Listen, they're going to jack up. All my questions that I do ask are for my own, for myself. Because if there's a controversy, if somebody brings me to court, invites me to court over some kind of controversy, I can bring that up. That's why I'm always on people about paperwork, about writing a document, about letting the establishment know where you stand, right? So that you're giving them fair warning. You know, a lot of guys use a notary, and they'll write some kind of notice of claim or whatever, send it off to go have it notarized, have the notary keep it, keep a copy in his office, and they send it off to whoever. And that way, if they're ever at court, because the notary is a officer of the court, then they can call it up from the notary's office for court, right? Now, me, I'm not so big on the notary stuff because that's getting kind of into the legal side. Down in the States, you guys got a little bit better. The notaries up here are mostly very controlled by the governments. In BC, yeah, I've got one buddy who's an Indian, and up around Prince Rupert, and he's the only Indian notary within the province, and the establishment has tried to poo-poo him on that, and Eric is his name, but Eric was at court one time. The establishment was trying to poo-poo him, but they couldn't because his elders gave him within his society, his society, gave him the notary authorization and recognized him as a notary. Therefore, the government has to recognize. And the judge at Supreme Court here, so BC has like a Supreme Court. I guess you would have. What is your court down in your state? Is it federal court? I can't remember. But anyways, the one with the multi jurisdictions that can actually see a man. But anyways, the judge looked at him, or the man in the black robe, and they call him a justice. So they looked at him, and he goes, I don't know why there isn't more Indian notaries around. Yeah. And the Crown and on the DA side, they didn't get anywhere with them because the judge poo-pooed their poo-pooing. Yeah, what's going on? Horse Mania wants. He's in want of an ID, real ID. Have cash. The highest form of ID is via voce. I was thinking about via voce the other day because Carl uses it lots, and a lot of people don't kind of get it, right? But via the living, okay, so living voice, right? That is the highest form of ID you got. There is no law. Now, if you wish to have ID, then go get some. I mean, you must have some ID. If you want to go get ID, go get yourself. I know they have them down in the States. State ID. Well, we have provincial ID, right? Go get some provincial ID. Horse Media was talking to me. He said he was having trouble getting his registration of live birth. I'm pretty sure you guys got these down here. I mean, it's just the document the doctor fills out to say the man or woman was born. right? Was born of a certain land, whatever state. So it's like state ID, and and then it's pretty much the only document that says there's a man. And of course, the birth certificate is produced off of this, but it's produced by the trust company, the corporate body, because that's their business, right? And so it's not for me to enter their business, but they do because I don't know, because they recognize a man, and I don't know how it's like Walmart putting insurance on their employees. So the employees don't get fuck all. If something happens to her, if they die, Walmart gets everything. The guy doesn't get anything. It's the same kind of thing. I mean, you could go get insurance on Joe Biden if you wish, right? I don't know. It might be expensive. The guy's not looking that good. But sorry, I got off rambling here. You know what, man? When we're having coffee, I'll sit there and talk to you about it again. But horse media, we've talked about this a couple of times. Payette was served notice liability before she stepped down. Oh yeah, saw the paperwork last night, eh? Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I have a copy of my mother's maiden name being my last name, which isn't my last name before I was registered as actual hospital certificate. Oh. You know what, man? I would get a hold of vital statistics. I would sit on the stupid phone for like whatever they put you through, 8 hours, but I would get a hold of vital statistics and just ask the dumb questions. As Joe knows, back in the day, they always said there's no dumb questions, but every time you asked one, as a young tradesman, everybody shit on you for it. I think that's where I got my thick skin from. But yeah, I would ask. I would just get on the horn with vital statistics. I believe you were born up here above the 49th somewhere. I know you spend a lot of time in the States. Yeah, I would do that. And you know what you could do? You could go get some provincial ID for now and see if that works as some kind of principal ID to see if it can help you get your other ID. Because I know they usually go for one principal ID and stuff, Yeah. Dave Ebby. Who's Dave Ebby, Horse Media? Notice of liability. Okay, well, you'd have to actually expound on that one. But cool. I got when my internet, I couldn't do a live stream for the life of me. And then when I was trying to figure this stuff out last year, and then it turned out the phone line was bad, the connection to the phone line was bad, and then the inside phone line was bad. So it was all bad. And now, even on slow speed broadband, I do want to figure out that Streamlabs. So I'm getting that working with the stream. Oh, the Attorney General. Okay. Did you give the guy fair warning that he was? I don't know what it's about. I don't know what the subject matter is, but anytime, like a lot of these guys, they're always writing ahead of time. Hey, if you do this, notice if you cross this, cross that, I'm going to charge this much and that much, and it turns into a bunch of horse shit. And they usually have some kind of notice of no trespassing, to begin with, right? And it's like, hey, learning how to write a proper document that reads like, look, man, as man, and I try not to say amen. I'm trying to get out of that habit as much as possible, because if I call you amoral, it's not that you're immoral or moral. It's just you got it, right? So, aboriginal, right? Not original. So anyways, I'm just trying to get out of that. But, if you're writing somebody, write them in the manner of, hey, you're talking, you're talking to your fellow woman, your fellow man, right? A peer who acts as, who's acting as an agent of, or you believe they are, and say, hey, look, I realize that you guys got your gig going on, and it's not the wish of I to be presumed or assumed to be acting, to be an actor within your agency, to be an actor within the corporate body structure, to be an actor, to be seen as a citizen, or whatever your topic is. I've seen these notices, 28 fucking pages, and I've seen them. I had one 15, 17 years ago. I wrote up, never did deliver. It was fucking 19 pages. I rewrote it. It was 9 pages. Now it's a paragraph. And you don't have to put everything when you do put the pen and ink to paper. You don't have to write everything about everything. And so what I've been doing over the years, like somebody will phone me and say, hey, Al, a friend of mine's having some issues with such and such or whatever, right? So I say, okay. And then just get them to phone me or whatever. And of course, you got to know the background. And so if it's a court thing, I have to see the paperwork. If I don't see the paperwork, there's no fucking help I can do. I can only generalize, and that's it, and that's all. And especially with the opposite sex, because girls get very emotional, and mostly I believe it's because they're spiritual, because they're the life-giving force, of nature, and they have higher instincts, and they're just more tuned in. And I think that's why a lot of chicks operate in fear so much. But anyways, getting off of that. So I'll just sit down, and so I'll go on my LibreOffice or my Word, and I'll say, okay, write me something and email it to me. Write what you wish to put down on paper. Get your thought across to the other side, but send it to me first. And then I take theirs and I put it up on the screen, and then I'll look at it. I already understand what's going on because I've seen the paperwork. I'll look at where I've talked to them, so I got kind of a basic knowledge. I can kind of see where they're coming from. Then I can look at their thing, and then what I'll do is I'll write my version. I'll send them back to them. So both versions on the paper. Then we'll discuss it, and then they may not. I may not get their exact point or something, so they rewrite theirs, and then we just go back and forth. And the cool thing about this is when you have a short, concise document, simplistic, short, concise, to the point. It came from here, right? You could be at any court, and you're going to recite it verbatim. Done. I don't care how they act, all their antics, doesn't matter. I don't care about the pressure. I don't speak well in public, but I seem to do fine at court. Maybe it's because I've been there so many times I feel at home or something. I don't know. But yeah, and but you'll find that it comes out of you, and that's the via voce. That's the living voice, because it came from inside of you. It came from your soul. And that's when you convict. That's when you see those in black robes flip. And if you're at the proper court where of jurisdiction where they can see a man, say I said it right, but if you can see a man and see persons, they're actually that interpreter that has one foot in the legal and one foot in the lawful, and so they can interpret. So a lot of folks they want to get to court. I'm all manned up. I'm all womaned up. And then they go into a fight with the judge. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Right? It's not his court. He's not the one pushing the court. Right? It's the guy over there or the woman over there. Right? Whoever the prosecutor is, their court. Now, of course, when you, and this is something else, even with common law courts, when you give over, like when you make a claim, when you file a claim, and then that gets court stamped, it all of a sudden it's out of your hands. Now, if you wish to go to a trial by jury, it becomes the jury's court. Okay, you're still the prosecutor. You're still moving the court. All right, but if it's a trial by magistrate, then you're giving it over to the court but you're still the prosecutor and the one moving the court. And whoever is moving the court, that man or woman or those peers, they are obligated to keep the court decorum of the one who is moving the court. Now, if they're moving a court on the presumption that you're some kind of peon, some kind of lunatic, some kind of agent, some kind of citizen, when you did not wish to be seen when you were obviously not acting as that citizen, then that's your presumption. And you can, their presumption on you, and then you can go to court and you can break that presumption. I call it being passed through the fire, right? Because that high priest up there in those garbs, the one that's spiritual and legal, he has a duty and obligation and responsibility to make sure that nobody is coming here fucking around the court. All right. There's no frauds. Okay. And so a lot of times these guys will get their claims filed. And it's funny because who was it? Somebody recently said to me, he said, yeah, but he got a claim in. Maybe it was First Media talking about it. And they said, well, they wrote force filed on it. But down at we got the oldest courthouse in British Columbia, actually, down here at the Queen City, Nelson. And they actually have a stamp for force filing. I was trying to help a native girl out with a land claim against these corporate Indians that took over the graveyard that her grandmother used to take care of, and so on and so forth. And they wanted to boot her out. Anyways, some kind of fucking soap opera with a bunch of women. Okay, sorry, I don't think too many women watch my shit, anyways. But and she was just acting up, and finally I got her like, hey, rein it in, man. You have a right, okay? You have a fucking right. Quit acting like a fucking lunatic. Stand as a woman. And so she did. She kept her shit together. I think she was in chambers with the justice and stuff. He recognized that there was a woman there. And then the minute they went back into the public venue at open court, right? She turned into she just got a bad attitude and started swearing at everybody. And I watched this old Irish judge, this old Irish white guy, and I don't know if you know anything about Irish judges, but they're a tough bunch. And I watched him. She had flipped him. She not, when I say flipped him, like she got recognized as a woman, and so he was doing his best to protect property of hers, which were her rights, and she just lost it, and that was the end of it. Fine. The corporation won, right? End of story. So, being my last name, which isn't my last name. Okay. I have a copy with my mother's maiden name on it, being my last name, which isn't my last name before I was registered, the actual hospital certificate with the seal and the doctor's signature. It's almost like a tongue twister. Okay, so you got a copy that has your mom's maiden name on it as your last name. Oh, was she pissed off at your old man or something? That's okay. My old lady didn't think I was going to stick around. This is like 1986, and so she hyphenated it. Right? She hyphenated hers to. I think she changed it. Just a king, but chicks, eh? Okay. Okay, so you're saying that the registration of live births is you're registered as your mother's maiden's name? That's kind of neat, actually. That's kind of neat because your birth certificate would have been built off of that, right? So did somebody change your name after, that'd be cool. Because maybe you can get 2 birth certificates. 2 passports. Just in case. That's kind of neat. But you know what, man? Okay, there's something else too. I'm pretty sure you guys have it, but it's as well as us. My name is the same as my father's, but they put my mother's maiden name. So when I walked into court before, I'll continue it. Okay. My name's the same as my dad's. Okay, I got that. But they put my mother's maiden name. So when I walked into court before, there was a discrepancy because I kept claiming that I used that name, but it wasn't the name on my birth certificate. Oh, okay. So you're okay. So your birth certificate and your registration of live birth is both in your mom's name, but you never gone on your mom's name. You've always gone on your dad's name. Is that what you're saying? Yay or nay? I think I got what you're saying. But the ID, your driver's license, and all that crap, or the government license you possess, and all that crap, that's all on the name you use. Oh yeah. Well, how did it fare out? Did you have fun doing that with these guys, or what? Did you confuse the shit out of them? No, the old man could have been overseas working. If he was military, who knows? Who knows? See, you have a family when you come from a dysfunctional family. All families are dysfunctional. There's always shit going on. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're at a court, like, okay, if you're at a court of competent jurisdiction to see a man, obviously there's a man or woman over there that says she caused harm, loss, or injury. And so my only question is, who says? And I've stood up at court and they say it's the Crown. Okay. Is Mr. or Mrs. Crown here today? And they say, well, that's the state. Well, is Mr. or Mrs. State here today? I wish to settle this matter in honor. But I've yet to face my accuser. I've yet to cross-examine my accuser. I've yet to have a chance to settle this controversy before it came to this public venue. Now, who's the man or woman that says I do wrong? Right? So it doesn't matter about my fucking name anyways. And the fact that I'm claiming I'm a man. Now, mind you, when I go to court, I appear at court. Okay? To appear is to assemble. Right? So I assemble as a person. Now I've had big ugly Irish judges and magistrates, or not magistrates, but justices, yelling at me, you must appear in person, right? Standing up, yelling, banging their fucking gavel, right? And it's like, dude, I am, well, that's not dude, right? But I'll call him sir. I don't call him your honor. I don't call him your majesty. I don't call him any of that stuff. I'll call him sir. I called the judge by his first name once. He wasn't real happy about that, but I was getting him man to man. But anyways, I'll call him sir. I'll say, like, sir, and is it not a man's right to appear in person? Is there a law that forces a man to be seen as a legal person? Right? And throw this back in their face, because the last time I checked, and before I even go into court, I have a document that precedes me. Okay. And then I'll sit down, I'll write up other notices, documents, whatever, just in case I come up with something and they come up with some kind of crap. And I say, oh, hang on a second. There you go. Right. Because the They screwed up at the hospital. They registered me as my name, my father's name. I present the evidence of Joe, my mother's maiden name. This is my live birth. Okay, got it. So your live birth is within your mother's name, right? My name on my live birth certificate is Joe Laboto. On the hospital certificate, my name is Joe, your mother's maiden name. Okay. I present the hospital document, which is a good document in court because of, okay, I got it. So you get to play you. You get to be plural, you know. That's all fine and dandy, but it's if it works for you, do it. I find with these corrupt bunch of bastards that if you're straight up, it fucks them up worse. Seriously. And the only reason I talk about the live birth is just basically because it's not within the corporate body structure. It's in the structure of of a registry of live birth, right? And that's a bad statement, but that's what it is. That's the document that shows there's a man or whatever. I mean, in, over, around, or through, I do believe in that for sure. I talked to lots of people that are just trying to get out of shit, but but there's another thing when you're talking to somebody who wishes to stand, all right? Because I find that the establishment, they're the ones fucking around. They're the ones fucking people around. They're the ones twisting things and using loopholes, and they're the ones that don't wish to recognize those of mankind, and just looking at everybody as a legal person, right? So they're looking at everybody as an infant, as a debtor, right? They look at you as a debtor, and guilt is debt, right? So they're looking at everybody as an infant under their authority, under their dictatorship, as their creation, and playing God. And so it's the basic simplicity is to break the presumption of being their bitch and say, hang on a second here, you do realize you have man at court, right? And when they start nicknaming sovereigns or free men, or say, no, hey, listen, dude, I don't know why and I look at the judge, but I talk to that guy that's moving the court. And I say, I don't know what this man's up to, but it sounds like he's calling me fucking names. He's besmirching my good name at this public venue. And I don't appreciate it. And I wish it to stop. Right? And you can be serious. Once you know who you are, you can be serious and stand. Now, I mean, if you're out stealing cars and beating up little old ladies, then I'm not saying that anybody here would do such a thing, but fuck them. Let them be the lunatic third person that the government created. Oh yeah. The checkbook approach. Yeah, absolutely. Because there has to be a controversy, right? Guilt is debt, right? So if somebody says you owe a debt, right? If somebody says you've done wrong, loss or injury to someone else, every man owes each man a debt, and that is the debt to not cause harm, loss, or injury. So obviously you were looking for the man because you brought me here. Obviously there's another man or woman that says I owe a debt. Who says I owe the debt? I need to be able to cross-examine my accuser. I brought my checkbook today. I wish to settle the debt. Now I know guys that have done that on statutory side, and take their checkbook and say, well, how much is the debt worth? I brought my checkbook today. And some other cool stuff about bringing the checkbook. Oh, I'm doing a live stream. Hang on. I'm doing live stream. Cool. Yeah. Well, didn't work out that good with the Streamlabs, but it's not too bad off the YouTube. So, but I still wish to figure out that Streamlab. Yeah, you can put one there for me. Thanks. I've been nursing this one. Kind of off the beer. I'm kind of off the beer. What man is ever off beer, right? Vitamin B. I like it wet. But just getting back to, even because every court has a value. Every one of these indictments and infractions has a value, and these guys cash in on this shit, right? And so it's like, okay, stay single-minded, stay on topic, Al. So yeah, your checkbook could count for an infraction. Say you were acting as a driver, you got a $150 fine. The only reason you're going to court is because you need time to pay, right? And you say, Your Honor, I'm here to settle the matter. I'm not here to dispute the matter. I was working for U.S. Mail at the time, throwing ballots out the back. But that's not the issue, because I got fired for throwing ballots at the back. No, I didn't. I was throwing Trump ballots out the back. But, I can, is it okay? Can I settle for, I don't know, $1 a day, $30 a month, until just give me a chance to catch up and get it paid. And a lot of times the guy in the black robe will say, well, look, go tell the clerk what you told me, and it's okay with me. If it's okay with the clerk, right? And remember, there's a difference between court clerk and clerk of the court, right? Court clerk's like the boss person, boss woman, boss man. And so there's a value on every court, all of them. And I know guys that have asked for their tax numbers because, where's the money going? Who's claiming the money? You claiming the money? So, but that's another story. What was the other thing I was thinking about that, just to get on it? There was another thing about I forget. It passed me over. But it's really strange to me that like I didn't just study a bunch of fucking shitheads, and I did study my fair share of shitheads and read a bunch of books, in which I did. But I've had to appear at court a number of times, and stood as man every time. And it wasn't like I was out doing something to cause any harm, loss, or injury to anybody else. I mean, that's just whatever it is, right? People do what they do. But yeah, and I've gone to court with other folks, and I've seen it, I've watched it, and you know what? Still gives me goosebumps. I'm sitting in the pews in the back there with this other Indian justice, and I saw the justice start protecting that man's rights right away and go after that man who was acting as a prosecutor on his behalf. Watch him get a discharge and walk out. It's real as long as we're still a common law land. And I think right now, I mean, this is imperative that folks learn to stand the fuck up before we become a civil Sharia country. We could. Canada and the States isn't that much difference. What they did was they progressed us away from, they progressed us away from our common law roots, superficially, just like, a number of years before you guys did. You guys had a thing about writing it down. You guys take your paperwork serious. Canadians, we just, I don't know what the fuck to say about us. We're like California rejects is what we're like, I wish to hire a counsel at law. I'll buy the hat. uh, yeah, well, being an old school biker, imagine who the fuck's going to teach our young ones? Like when I was a few years ago, backed up by road agents on the side of the highway via a rat, right? I had something that was not unlawful, but it might have been illegal. But it was in my cubicle, in my private cubicle, which is an extension of my home. Okay, and with anything, I was passing through the public, minding my own goddamn business. So, to make a long story short, you know, these fuckers jacked me up, and fuck, I forgot my point. Damn. But oh yeah. So I got buddies. Like being in the industry, you work for a lot of high rollers with gold rings and white running shoes and stuff like that, and fancy motorcycles, and there is no budget. Just do whatever you wish to make it go fast, Al. And so but all these guys, they hire lawyers and that, and so sure, if you're high rolling and you can make the coin and everything else, and don't have to put up with having a man up at court, that's one thing. But when you're basically a dirty white boy like I am, and with a family, and the reason I got these injuries is I was run over by 2 cars, and I didn't get a fucking penny for it at the time. It's another stupid story, but anyways, it doesn't matter. And so it's been hard for me to excel. Plus, where I live, I mean, I was running. My body kept falling apart in construction, so I was running a aftermarket Harley shop up here for 20 years. I was running a speed shop in Calgary before I came out here. But I came out here to raise my kids, get the fuck out of the city, and I have no regrets. In fact, my boys still thank me for making the move when they were young. But you know what? If I don't bring this out and beak off at all these folks, my family, and at least put it out there, give them the fucking knowledge, then it's going to be gone. After our generation, after the boomers are gone, these guys won't have a fucking clue who the fuck they are. And nobody's teaching history. Nobody knows fuck all. It's just all crazy. Everything's just superficial bullshit. Everybody wants sugar, and they living off of sugar, and it's just fucking stupid. And I wish I would have. Well, it took me. It was about, I don't know what it was, fucking almost 20 years ago, when I figured, you know what, man, I used to be quite political, and then I wasn't at all, and then I did, because I started to notice, what's going on with this fucking place? Why are we getting so retarded now, right? So I started studying constitutions and the charters, and I studied human rights law for, I don't know, about a good 3 years, and and da-da-da-da-da. And I saw it all going nowhere. I learned how to do constitutional questions, constitutional challenges, da-da-da-da. Now, the difference is, back then, if I did a constitutional challenge, I would have my ass kicked and probably be thrown in a cage, right? Now, I can hold a constitutional challenge, and I know how to bring it up, go before the one in the black robe, and be seen as a man. And I didn't know that back then. And I've had friends, guys that I was studying human rights law with back then, where they were being thrown out of courthouses, where they were getting beat up by huge, sheriffs, which is what we have that kind of guard the courthouses around here. I guess you guys got bailiffs, we got sheriffs, and and dragged off and stripped and thrown into literal dungeons. And we got some pretty old fucking courthouse jails around here, and being laughed at. My buddy Dave, I hope to actually do an interview with him sometime once I get a little more savvy with this stuff. But a friend of mine that I met through studying human rights law, Dave, and Dave, if you watch this, give your old lady a big hug for me, and all the best to you guys. But I don't know if Dave watches my shit or not. But it was miserable. But so here in British Columbia, we got to go over the island to the main courthouse to do this constitutional challenge. So it's by the legislative buildings and everything, and it's quite the big old stone buildings and all that wonderful crap. So when he all he did was go there to inquire what's going on with my constitutional challenge, because I'm not hearing anything about it. And the clerk behind the counter had called the sheriffs up, and the sheriffs come down the hall, and these are big dudes apparently, and just fucking dragged him off. So they took all his clothes and shit and left him naked in an old stone dungeon room, where the bars up here. And I bet we used to call him the bridal suite back in the day. But so anyways, he's there. Finally, he gets some clothes and this and that, and they drag his ass up to court. He says, Al, he says, man, I think this was like a judge training session, right? Because, and the way he made it sound, I had this vision in my head that this poor guy standing at court, and there's all these judges in black robes dancing around him, who's afraid of the big bad man now? the human rights guy, and but that's what it was. The courthouse was full of judges, and then they basically said too fucking bad, and they sent him back across to Vancouver to do some kind of time, and I think he got bail, and they misspelled his name on the check because he had cash on him, and these guys, when they see you, so I only give out like certain secrets. I don't like giving out like everything I know in detail, just because there are people that will abuse it, use it, and fuck it all up for others. And I've seen that happen many times. So if I'm helping somebody, I get right into detail with them, and stuff. And it's not like I know all the tricks, man. Hey, shit, we learn stuff every day. I know somebody who's just like a genius with this shit, but he lives way over there and I live over here. So sui juris. So you're an agent. Yeah, you can go into court as your own agent for sure. And of one's own right. Yeah, you betcha. The second person, right? I, first person. Sui juris, second person. No, the man is first person. Sorry. Sui juris is an agent. I believe it is. And this is what I can attest to and witness to be true from what I've seen. And this is what I believe. And sui juris is actually a person, buddy, and it's an agent. And if you hire a lawyer to act as your agent, he's sui juris. So I would do a little more investigating on that. But natural law, and I don't even like using the term natural law, but natural law, which is recognized as man, and the customs of your people fall into the natural law. No harm, no loss, no injury falls into natural law. And that all pertains to the first person. Now you can go in as sui juris and be the agent of the man or the woman, So, yeah, well, I know guys that have been hung on sui juris stuff. So, because what happens was instead of being noticed as the agent, they get noticed as the trustee, and now they're the trustee, which is also second person. They just broke trust. Usually shooting their fucking mouth off too much. Like Ezra did. When he was being interrogated by two off-duty or retired coppers over the elections thing, just because he wrote a book. And he ratted himself out as the publisher. They were looking for they said they were looking for the CEO the CEO of Rebel News, I believe, is exactly what they were looking for. Who acted as who was in charge of writing the book or whatever. I'd have to rewatch it again, but I did do a show on it back, and I was pretty much to the point on everything. And and Ezra, instead of standing there as a man who wrote a book, or sitting there as a man who wrote a book asking dumb questions, he just beaked off and said, "Yeah, I'm the guy you're looking for." So he got $3,000 fine, no court. Yeah. Yeah, well, anytime somebody does address I at court, I always stand up. I put my hand up. I'm the man. What more do I need to say about that? I'm the man, and I identify as a man. And everybody in a black robe gets that. They get it right away. I don't have to talk about being an agent for the fiction. I don't talk about fictions. I don't talk about persons. If they're telling me to show up in person, which they do, they yell at me or have in the past and say, "You must show up in person next time." Hey, dude, I am here in person. The only problem is I don't have a legal person, right? And usually my notice that because I always write a notice, because these are usually two-dimensional entities that are coming to make my to benefit me, and they believe it's a benefit by causing you harm through your person. And so these two-dimensional entities that they're causing trouble for me, I make sure that I put it down on pen, paper, pen, ink, and paper, and I give them back two-dimensional that they can understand. As a matter of fact, I go right in, I find out who's prosecuting the case, and I'll go into their office, and I usually bring a witness or two, usually two if I can, to make sure that, hey, he got served my notice. I make sure it gets put in the file. So, two-dimensional courts, and I ain't arguing with the judge. Yeah, okay. I did a show out of my truck when my slow net was down. And it was kind of cool because I never thought I could live stream from here and ever. I'm up on a mountain somewhere and there's no cell service and blah, blah, blah. We live, it's almost like the 70s. Say the 70s with slow net, right? So good times, and so I did a little bit of a thing. And it's I'm not saying that there's only three persons in a man's life, like three categories of person, but these are the three I recognize, right? The natural person, the office of man, the man, right? The natural person, right? Now the legal society does recognize the natural person as legalese, private person also. And you'll find that another term I don't like to use because, well, they recognize it. So you know what I wish is just to talk man to man, right? Simple as that. So the natural person, the man, right? So the first person, your second person, the second basic person that we all have is an artificial person. That is sui juris. Okay. And that's where, if I gave DJ, if I gave DJ authority to act as an agent on my behalf over something, then he is now sui juris, right? And so do you give carte blanche, authority to act on your behalf? And this is what a lot of people do with lawyers. They just carte blanche it, right? And all of a sudden, now you're seen as the fucking infant, the third person, the lunatic, right? Which is alieni juris, right? So sui juris, agent, and alieni juris is the alien. So that's the infant, and that's the lunatic, right? That's also basic where people reside in that one too, but I won't get into that right now. Yeah. Oh, I've talked to the old guy down in Florida a couple of times. I took the course a few years back, and I just keep re-signing up every year. And once I learned how, like a few shows back before my internet went down, I was putting the link up for Jurisdictionary. And my thing, because if you hit my link, they'll give me a deal. They'll give me a few bucks off next time I sign up. Full disclosure. But no. And I've talked to the old guy a number of times. I was helping out a couple. I need a drink of beer, man. My voice is. I was helping out a couple. They were at Supreme Court, and they were being sued by a man, a woman, and the company that the man and woman, the corporation, the man and woman. So they were being sued three different ways. So they went to a lawyer, right? And the lawyer looked at it and said, well, I'll just pay him. And so the lawyer, now they didn't hire him. They just went like up here. Usually your first consult is basically, it's no charge. It's just like, here's what's going on. What do you think about it? And, you want to take the case, or do I want you to take the case? So this guy, carte blanche, sends some kind of document, response to the other side. Now, this is a civil court, mind you, right? So anyways, they had a friend of mine that we became friends, but a guy I got to know, and it was now a good friend, that I helped out a number of years ago, 6-7 years ago, with some shit. And he said, hey, phone my buddy Al. So they did. And they had 1 day to get a response in. So I just downloaded the paperwork. I seen the file, I read the file, downloaded the paperwork. We did the response. Now, what we did as response at the time, now claim. And but it is what it is. When you're responding, if you have a claim attached, then hey, that's your claim. Now, anyways, they didn't like it too much, but they were stuck with this woman. And so this woman, he works up north in the oil fields quite a bit, and like fucking poor guys, like gone most of the time, like most oil men are, gone away from their home and their families so much to make a lousy $100,000 a year or something. But to make a long story short, her and I worked together, and we cornered the other side. It was so much fun. And so I phoned, at the time, I phoned Buddy in Florida, because I am a member of Jurisdictionary, and we'd chat about stuff, and he'd tell me what he'd think. He didn't tell me what he'd do, or he just gave me his thoughts. Really nice old guy. I'm worried that one day the guy's going to get too old, and those guys are going to go away. I sure hope he's setting that up, because I'll tell you, it's really good to know this stuff. It's really good to know the other side. And and it doesn't matter that it's in Florida. I mean, from state to state, you have different styles. Everybody's common. From province to state and province to province, we have different styles, but everybody's common law. And so, the difference would be just like in the style of paperwork and the style of, of whatever. So anyways, they were suing these kids for $450,000. And I don't know, something happened to her daughter or whatever, but she was a tiger, man. She was good. She held her shit together. There was more than one chambers meeting with the other side, and on the other side was, they were laughing at her and treating her like shit. And so we just get together all the time and then talk about it. And then she'd go in with her plan of attack. So even though she was there as a defendant, she was like the Kung Fu lady, man. There is no defense. There's only offense, right? So, she did really good. Something out of her daughter and that. So they decided, now these people would not settle. They would not do any kind of mediation whatsoever, and when they started, and by the time they were getting their ass kicked by this housewife. And so finally, I think their daughter got sick, and the old man, and she just couldn't handle it anymore. But they came to her and said, look, hey, we wish to settle. So they did settle. They settled for less than half. So, cool. I think Jurisdictionary is a good thing. Now, do I wish to go in to be seen as a legal person? No. But do I wish to know how the other side thinks and how they react? Do I wish to know how to file paperwork and get it flipped to the man's side? See, that's the biggest problem too. Like with the sovereign citizens thing, the SovCit thing that was going on down south, and the free man thing that was going up here. Like they got me profiled as a free man. I've never used that fucking term in my life. I've never claimed any of that shit. Just because I took orders on the side of the road, and in fact, the coppers treated me like gold because all I did was take their orders, right? But I sent them all bills later, and what happened with the bills is my business. But anyways, so jurisdictionary is a great course. And it's good. And if you're going to put some time in, and they're expanding it, they expanded more and more. I mean, when I first started, when I took it the first time, it was all only civil, and now they've added to it. So lots of fun, and it helps you with navigate paperwork. So a friend of mine, he's like this. There's a guy here. I'm not going to say his name, but I saw one of his claims, and it looked just like a claim that a friend of mine did. It looked like a copy of a claim that a friend of mine did about 17 years ago. More? No. Yeah, about 17, 18 years ago. And I said, okay, fine. And it was a common law claim. He was trying to get trial by jury where the magistrate is independent of the tribunal. Fine. And I'm looking at this, and he's doing this now. Now, people have been through this, and the legal society has figured a way to poo-poo you. Up here, they use this case called Meads versus Meads, and then what they do is they just call you, they call you an enemy of the court, and then they just throw you out of fucking court. They throw your case out of court and everything else. Now, as far as I know, this one guy, apparently he's got 3 claims. I don't know, but I only saw the one, and he's got it sealed because he's got a notice on top, just like my buddy did 17 years ago. Do not trespass. Right? This is stay sealed until it comes before the tribunal. See, here's the problem: when you file a claim, it leaves your hands, and it's there. Yes, you can put a notice on. This is to stay sealed until it comes before the tribunal. But you gotta be careful on how you put a notice like that, a cover on that, anyways, because you just sealed it to yourself as well. And when you do file a claim, until the other side is served, you can actually add to the claim, take away from the claim, build the claim, get all your ducks in a row, and then you can go serve the other person. So you can actually file the claim and then go serve. Right? So just say, but once the other side is served, you ain't changing shit, right? You're stuck there. So to make a long story short, this other guy that's got his claim, he has not run his claim through court. And I heard him say that it was going to be interesting to see and how it's going to work out. But, he's up here, so they're going to Meads versus Meads him. And they're just going to toss him and his ass out of the goddamn court. And simple as that. I've talked to the assistant chief justice in Northern Alberta. His name's Peter. I believe it's Peter. And he's thrown a few people out of court. So there's an art in, over, through, or around. We're fluid, man. Okay. We don't maintain a position. We're not rigid. Okay. Like Thomas Jefferson said, how can a statute apply to man when man is fluid and statutes are rigid? Right. God bless that guy, man. He's got so many cool quotes. He used to call them fake news too. But, so if you look at, like, up here, say you're doing a civil suit, or say you're doing some kind of suit, civil suit at like a Supreme Court, a Queen's Bench, Superior Court, you'll see that it starts off, and they do talk about, claim and trial by jury. And then when you get into the paperwork, it turns to complaint and jury trial, right? Which is the mirror image. So what they're doing is, because these people that hold certain jurisdictions, these guys in the black robes that sit in certain jurisdictions where they can see the legal and the lawful, they see the man and the person, right? So they have the paperwork. It's kind of like a hybrid, and you have to be able to recognize it. So I have no problem using the court's paperwork to file a claim, right? I have no fucking problem with that whatsoever. In fact, I've done it. And a year ago, Christmas, I was at court on a civil matter over a lawsuit. And claim was recognized. The justice saw I, the man, and we carried on. The other side pretty much shit their pants, and I haven't heard from them ever since. So I don't know where the fuck they went, you know? So yeah, open your mind. Don't think inside the box, So yeah, I think jurisdictionary is worth every penny. Yeah. So just DJ, I don't know if you're still there or not, but just fuck, an hour and a half. I'm gonna end this. So just to get, so first person, man, natural person. Second person, artificial person, sui juris, agent of principal. Okay, so man would be the principal, and the agent of the principal is sui juris, right? And you have a right to do that. But when you act as sui juris, you can be both on the legal and on the lawful. So I did a show just, was it before my internet went down? And I was showing, or no, it was in my truck. And yeah, the show's in my truck. I was talking about this because guys were talking to me about, hey, fucking common law for dummies, Al, you need to simplify it. I am saying, okay, sorry, man. All right. So I think of the first one I did, and the second one I did in my truck was just going on about the person, right? And there's a big thing. I don't know how it's happening in the States, except for maybe California, where, teachers are taking kids to a doctor so the kids can get a sex change and all that kind of shit. And they're 14 years old, right? So, okay. Thanks, DJ. But anyway, so and this co-parent, I had never even heard about this co-parent until a few years back, just a few years ago. And long story, but to make a short story, the legal society sees them as local parentis, and it's like a co-parent, right? So when you are an infant, you have a co-parent, right? Everybody knows that not the United States of America, but the United States is a corp, and it's a crown corp, by the way, just like Canada is a crown corp. Now, we've never had a de jure government up here, but you guys have had a de jure government down there. I believe that hasn't been since right around our Confederation, 1800 sometime. So late 1800s. I thought it was around 1867, but some people are saying 1880 something, but whatever. I mean, that's your thing. But so when you're seen as this infant, this lunatic, and okay, so like it's the third person is like he, she, it, they, thing, them, their, themselves. Those are all kind of third person terms. Sui juris is you, yours, yourself, agent, yourselves. But what I did go into is like, okay, basically the three persons that I can see. And then I went into like how I sign my documents. And people always look at me funny because when I sign as man, I sign down on the bottom right. I don't put a period in my whole document until it's at the end of the date, which is under my signature. Now, under my signature directly is my qualification of my signature, which is I, man. Right? And then the date under that. If you go get something witnessed by a notary, you'll find that their shit's in the center because that's a non-combatant, right? That's somebody neutral to the document. When you go to the left, that's legal. Now, that can also be agents, and that can also be defendants. That can also be debtors. The guy on the right's the creditor. Who credits these corporate body politics that we got going on, these corporations, these crown corps? Right? Who credit? We are the creditor. Where is our receipt? It's a valuable warehouse certificate called the birth certificate. What do we get in exchange for that? We get this valuable warehouse certificate that allows us to enter into certain benefits. And this is why I'm not scared of the birth certificate, because I see a benefit there. 5 minutes from now, I don't see the benefit anywhere. And you can't hold me to that, because you might be able to presume that I am that person. But via voce, the living voice, can break that presumption. And the living voice, testimony, independent, verifiable witnesses are the highest testimony you can have, right? Yeah. Well, it's just good to have paperwork. I mean, word's a sword without the S, right? I mean, what protruded out of the mouth of God, right? It was a two-edged fiery sword. It was the word, right? It's a double-edged sword, so it can fucking cut you as well as cut them. So be careful with your words. And this is what all these guys who run these courts, they're word nerds. They know this shit. And they just love fucking with people's ignorance. And we are, 80 years, 100 years ago, a grade 4 student could read better, write better, and have better comprehension of learning than today. High school. High school is just a joke. Fucking these university people are just a joke. Not all, but it's down to the individual. Listen, guys, I'm dying. Thank you for coming on. It was great, and it was a good test. I've been fucking with this shit for too long. Oh, yeah. Well, usually an affidavit, see, an affidavit is fairly legal. If I wrote an affidavit, I would accompany it with a claim. Say I had no choice. Say they didn't want to, for whatever the situation is. Say somebody needed, for their own office and own filing, they had to have an affidavit from a guy, right? So I would write an affidavit that I hereby, swear that I, wrote this claim. See claim attached, okay, and then have the claim, and I do it all in blue ink as a man, because blue is the color of the living man. And that's why royalty uses it. They see themselves as mankind. They don't see you as mankind, right? So blue, right? Red is dead. I don't use red for living documents. And red, it goes back to the old days when they were pouring blood across a canyon, a valley, or something, when invading forces were coming in with their elephants, and that because the elephants which were heavy armor back then, the elephants would freak out over the blood, and which is why they use red borders. You cross this at your own peril, right? On documents. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. But I use black for legal and blue for I. So I don't get too hung up, but I do love using blue ink. So if you're writing up an affidavit, write it up. If you wish to put a claim beside the affidavit or with the affidavit and close it with the affidavit or be part of the affidavit, then you can write the affidavit up saying, whatever, I swear, whatever, that everything on my claim is the truth, and then you can close it. And this is thinking outside the box. And so these guys that are at court, filing these claims with their own papers and that are getting kicked out of court because of the abuse of the system. That's what they call it. It's an abuse of the system. You're becoming a court combatant because all this stupid shit that went on, and that's why the courts act this way now. I mean, these free men up here, they were putting 3,721 fucking documents. Like a judge is actually going to read it. It was just crazy. So to be recognized as a man is not that hard, and you need to be a little savvy, right? So, but I use blue ink. Of course, we're in the same boat. They're a common law land. We're a common law land. The jurisdictional difference is our southern cousins have their own style and we have our own style, but we're both common law lands. England's a common law land. Australia is a common law land, Quebec's by jure, but common law still stands. And if you read the Quebec Civil Rights Code, you'll find that it says right in there in French, if you can read French, that common law is your trump card there still. And Scotland's by jure, South Africa's by jure. And there's a few common law lands within Africa still, and one in South America. So we're all common law. It's just the style vary from state to state, province to province. Yeah, that's all it is. So that's why, once you take the jurisdictionary course, and then say if somebody's serving you about something, right? You can go on to your own state or your own province stuff and look up the documents. You'll know how to look up the documents and how to respond. And, like in certain states, I can rebut something right away. Whereas British Columbia, they make you wait for a bit, just the rules of procedure. That's all. Rules of civil procedure vary. It's just style. But a man is man. That's it, and that's all. God made man. Man made governments to protect property of man. Simple as that. Governments made the third person so they could have their its. Wasn't that Cousin It? Right? Joe would know Cousin It. He's old enough. Yeah, thank you guys for coming on. It's my pleasure, and I didn't know. I just wasn't giving up on this live stream shit because it's a lot more fun than me just speaking off about stupid crap on my own. Yeah. If you go down into my stuff, there's a link. You'll see a link. I got a link that says jurisdictionary. If you hit that link, it'll bring you right to the course. And I don't know. I guess it'd be doing me a bonus rather than anybody. But yeah, I was surprised too when I phoned the guy. This a few years ago, mind you, but I was surprised when I phoned the guy and the owner of the company picked up and talked to me. Not a problem. He said, "Oh, just give me a call anytime." So it's kind of cool, and I did appreciate that. But they're pretty good there. But it's a self-motivating course too. But once you get into it, man, it's actually not bad. And like I say, it's not that I'm trying to promote being legal when I'm talking common law, but I do like to wish, to see how the other side acts, and if I get into civil court and be seen as a man, right? So, hey, it is what it is. That's all. Okay. God bless you guys. And thanks again for coming on. And